Our top story today affects each and every one of us, one way or the other. The slide of the Indian rupee, that's what we're talking about. And the slide is continuing against the US dollar. The rupee has now breached the 72 mark in early morning trade this morning. That's Monday. And all this, despite the SOPs that were announced by the government on Friday. The rupee continues to depreciate further. It touched the mark of 72.13 against the American currency, against the American dollar. Remember, the rupee gained 15 paise to close at 71.66 against the dollar on Friday. This was on the hopes that the government will roll back the FBI surcharge, which it did. It would unveil measures to boost growth, which the government claims to have done. And the higher surcharge on the super rich in the budget, the lack of fiscal stimulus had triggered a sell-off by FIIs in the Indian markets. The government then made that big announcement in the evening, and here we are on Monday morning. Let's go across to Sakshi for more on this. And here we are, Sakshi, as I was saying, on Monday morning, and despite all that, the rupee continues to fall. What's going on?
Absolutely, Sarah. It is turning out to be a crucial Monday morning for our currency as well as for our markets. Disappointing for our currency, to say the least. It has weakened to a fresh 2019 low. Just minutes before has hit 72.13 to the dollar, and experts believe the slide could continue through the day. So we'll have to wait and watch for that. But what's really hurting our currency? So the experts believe the first thing that is really hurting our currency this morning is the fact that the markets have given up all their gains, which seems to suggest that the FM announcements that were made on Friday to boost the economy were just not enough. In fact, we heard an expert even tell us that collateral damage cannot just be overcome in a day, and we'll have to wait and watch as to how markets really take this. Was this just a sentiment booster for our markets and our currency, or are things really going to change on the ground? So that's one aspect. The other aspect that's hurting the rupee is, of course, consistent fund outflows from investors. And we have to say that investors say the interesting bit in this whole thing is, of course, the Chinese yuan, which is being devalued by their economy. Now, how does that impact our currency? Of course, Chinese yuan devaluing and the devaluation of the Chinese yuan makes their exports competitive, but experts believe that our currency will also have to continue to slide in order to compete with China. So therefore, remember, we compete with China on textile, on automobiles, we compete with them on a whole host of exports, and that remains crucial to watch out as well as to how does that pan out. It of course remains crucial for us because on one end our currency continues to weaken, on the other they say we will have to compete with China to be able to take things forward as far as our exports are concerned. And lastly, overnight, Sarah, we were checking the levels. Overnight, our dollar index was weakening, crude prices were slipping. So clearly, all fundamentals were saying that the rupee is going to hold on to gains. However, that didn't happen, and experts believe it is mostly because of domestic equities as well as the Chinese yuan and the fact that that is being devalued consistently to a fresh 11-year low. Back to you for other news.